Greetings. We continue today in our study of the sovereign will of God and the free moral agency of man. Is there a conflict? Today we begin a study of the eternal plan of God for man. There are two thoughts that we want to develop in this section. One is the basis of God's goal for man, and two, the means of God's goal for man. The idea to become fixed in the mind is that after God is through performing his thought, purpose, and spoken word, he will have exactly what he desired in the beginning. The basis of the goal. What did God want in his creation of man? Well, the Word of God teaches us he wanted worship from him and fellowship with him on a voluntary, not an involuntary basis. 1 Peter 2:9 says, "But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar," that doesn't mean odd, it means a particular purchased possession people, that you should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, which in time past were not a people, but are now the people of God, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. See, God has from the beginning wanted a people with which to dwell and to fellowship, that he might be their God. And they were to be his people, a particular purchased possession unto himself. A people who of their own will chose him and bound themselves to him with a bond of love to worship and to serve him and to serve him alone. God created the angels before man, and I conclude from a study of the scriptures that these angels are spiritual beings. The word angel literally means messenger. That's one of those words they didn't translate from Greek to English. They changed the spelling. We call it a transliteration. The Greek word is angelos. The English word is angel, but what it means is a messenger. These angels or messengers were created to worship God and to do his bidding. But when I study the scriptures in entirety, I see an absence of a will in these spiritual created beings. The one great and notable exception is the perversion of Lucifer, how that he said, "I will," when he did not have the right to do anything but what God bid him to do, as recorded in Ezekiel chapter 28, verses 12 through 19. So let's examine them. "Thou sealest up the sum, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. Thou hast been in the garden of God. Every precious stone was thy covering." Now, think about that. In Ezekiel's time, who could it be true of that it could be said, you were in the garden of God? Go back and read in Genesis. What characters were there? "Every precious stone was thy covering, the sardius, topaz, the diamond, the beryl, the onyx, the jasper, the sapphire, the emerald, and the carbuncle, and gold, and the workmanship of thy tabrets and of thy pipes was prepared in thee in the day thou wast created. Thou art the anointed cherub that covereth, and I have set thee, I ordained thee so. Thou wast upon the holy mountain of God. Thou hast walked up and down in the midst of the stones of fire. Thou wast perfect in thy ways from the day thou wast created till iniquity was found in thee." How did that happen? Well, it explains in verse 16. "By the multitude of thy merchandise," that word means trafficking back and forth, "they have filled the midst of thee with violence, and thou hast sinned. Therefore I will cast thee as profane out of the mountain of God, and I will destroy thee, O covering cherub, from the midst of the stones of fire. Thine heart was lifted up because of thy beauty. Thou hast corrupt thy wisdom by reason of thy brightness. I will cast thee to the ground. I will lay thee before kings, that they may behold thee. Thou hast defiled thy sanctuaries by the multitude of thy iniquities, by the iniquity of thy traffic. Therefore will I bring forth a fire from the midst of thee, and it shall devour thee. And I will bring thee to ashes upon the earth in the sight of all them that behold thee. And all they that know thee among the people shall be astonished at thee. Thou shalt be a terror, and neither shalt thou be any more. Isaiah chapter 14, verses 12 through 17. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly, that's like we're going to squint and really focus upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man? Now the Hebrew word here is ish, not Adam, a human being. When the devil's referred to, it uses this word. Is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, that made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners? See, Lucifer, the son of the morning, the archangel over the material realm of God's creation, was endowed by God with certain wisdom necessary to perform his established function. Somehow, the Word of God says, in the doing of that task, he corrupted himself, his wisdom, his beauty, his sanctuary. Now, instead of simply doing God's bidding, Lucifer, as he's now known, undertakes to oppose God and exalt himself above God. This rebellion led to an uprising. Lucifer and his angels that were under his charge, a third of the angelic band, were cast out of heaven. See Revelation chapter 12, verses 7 through 9. It says, and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought in his angels and prevailed not. I love that phrase in the original. It says, and he wasn't strong enough. He prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Now these verses are prophetic, but we know a historic similar event occurred also. Revelation 12:4, just above it, is generally regarded to refer to Lucifer's fall when it says, and he drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth. Now the word drew there means to drag down with violence, even against one's will. Therefore, from that time even to the present, Satan and his angels oppose God's ultimate purpose of glorifying a people whom he has created, redeemed, and sanctified for his own glory.